Okay, welcome to Yeshiva Daf sponsor Mishmas Arba Shalom Sitzchok. We're holding in Basra Daf Tzadik Dalid. We're going to start in the Mishnah that's Gimel base in the bottom. So the Mishnah. Harez Amoicher Peus the Chaveroi. Harez Mekabel Alov Roiva Tinoifes Lesem. When you sell fruits to your friend, so the buyer accepts the facts that there will be some spoilage in the merchandise. For every sale that he sells, he's supposed to have a roiva of tinoifis, of dirt. They wasn't going to explain which dirt. Teinim, if he sells figs, he has to have 10 rune figs for every 100. Every 100, 10% goes bad. He takes a cellar full of wine. He takes 10 bad ones out of 100. If it gets the barrels in this location called Sharoin, again, bad barrels. So it's about 10% in many of the cases. You have to assume that some of it is going to go bad. It could be spoilage. Says the Gemara, Tani Rav Kitino Roiv Kitnir Slasel. Meaning what? When you have a 10%, there's two 10% that could be in grain. They could be kitnirs. Kitnirs, they translate in English to legumes. So like that. Meaning it's on, for whatever purpose, is a part of the grain which is not processed enough. It's mixed into the grain, some other unprocessed grain. Right? That's the kidneys. Afuris means earth, and mixed in the grain. Action iron, which is not grain. Says the one this. You have for every set roiva of kidneys, right? Legumes. Am I saying it right? The word.
Yeah. He says it's legume. That's what he pronounces it. L-E-G-U-M-E.
It's a part of the grain, or part of something that grows in the ground.
It's funny, in Portuguese, legumes is a vegetable.
It's like a vegetable. But afuris,
it's from the
previous crop, it's old, it's not processed, it's not great, not good. Afuris is sand, is earth. Look, and that. So that's not someone, now we're talking about now the opposite case. Now that we learned that you can have in every grain, you can have a certain percentage of spoilage. So someone goes and cleans out the spoilage. He goes to his friend's thing and cleans it up. I cleaned up for you. The owner says, what are you doing? I will be able to sell it, and I have, a ton of grain, and a certain percentage, let's say 10% of it is spoilage. So I'm selling that for a price. You took out the 10%, I have only 90% of it.
You can't sell it for more.
I can't sell it for more. So he says, someone takes a little dirt earth, from a pebble, from the groin of Shechaver. So the one that's down the right? He has to pay, because he would sell this whole thing for one package. Now you cleaned it up, you can't sell for that package. Something more, so you see here, Tzor is a fruit, is earth. Something more, kidney is roiva. Kidneys you can have up to a roiva akav. A fruit is pachas meroiva. A fruit is less. That's a different measurement. So about fruit is roiva loy. You want to tell me you can't do a fruit is roiva? Hatanya, it says in the right, so amoiche breza chaveroi chitin. Someone sells wheat to his friend. Mekabel roiva kitnis l'seyo. So it takes a roiva guinness. Soybean, barley, mekabel roiva nishoyvis l'seyo. That's called the unprocessed or previous crop of barley. Adoshim, if he's selling beans, kabbalah roiva fruits l'seyo. Oh, now we're talking about earth. Earth only applies to adoshim. It says, you want to tell me, wheat, barley, and adoshim, they all have the same spoilage. So no.
So what's the question?
So the says, you see that a fruit could be a roiva by adashim, so chur could be mashu, could be roiva also b'chitim v'soyim. And we just established that you can't have roiva of a fruit. can have only roiva kidneys. In other words, we learned that you can have one roiva of spoilage, of grain which is not good. But what spoilage? Does it have to be a certain bad grain, or it could be even earth, a fruits? So one says no, only bad grain, not a fruits. Says the Gemara, no, but I just see here over here in the Braiso that I can have roiva fruits by kidneys. The Gemara says if I can have roiva fruits by kidneys, by adoshim. If I can have roiva fruits by adoshim, I can have also by wheat and barley. So why you tell me I can't have roiva fruits? Says the Gemara, no, shani adoshim de me'akar oker lu. So no, it's very different. Adoshim, they take it out of the ground with the earth. They pull it out of the ground. So that's why they have more earth. But wheat and barley, no. So then one of the opposite question. Because you pull out of the ground. No, you can't have wafer. I have a right from here that you don't get a fruit. Either they don't get it all, or that's a raya, they don't get a roiva. So no, that's not a raya. It could be it does, the buyer needs to accept a fruit earth of a roiva. So why we said only adashim? Adashim yitzechlei, it's like a daitach. I mean, I would think the opposite. Because you're pulling out of the ground, you have to accept more amount of offer. Great. So the Gemara says, no raya to here to there. We don't have a raya from here. Say one more. So then let's say the buyer goes, the way the Rashbam explains it, he goes and he sees, no, there's more spoilage than what's supposed to. It's supposed to be a spoilage of only a roiva, and it's a little bit more. So he says, okay, let me clean it up. Let me take out the extra spoilage. Because you have too much. So once you're taking out a little bit, take out the whole thing. You don't only take out only the extra spoilage you're not supposed to have. So what's the reason? Some say that's not halacha. And when someone say it's a knas, it's a punishment. How do you explain it? Person, when he pays money, he wants the best fruits. So why you agree to accept a roiva spoilage? Roiva letorach inish. I'm not going to go start bothering cleaning it up if it's only a roiva. That's not a lot. But I will work hard to clean it up. Once I'm working, the whole idea is I don't want to get involved with this. Let me just take whatever it is, I'm fine. But if it's too much, I'm not fine. I want to go and sieve it. Once you're sieving it, you already sieve the whole thing. For having the some say the reason if it's too much is a knas. Why? Roiva shchiach. Yoiser lo shchiach. It's normal to have this amount of dirt, not more. Oh, so why are you having more? It seems like the seller paid a foil stick and he mixed up into the grain dirt. Once he mixed it up, so in other words, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that this guy did something wrong by mixing it up. Because if he wouldn't have done something wrong, why in the world would he have so much dirt? Elamai, he tried to do it. So one may see, one may the question. Anytime that I have a sale, there's a roiva of something else, what are we talking about? What's the case? We're talking about by kilaim. You're not supposed to have in kilaim other meaning. Not supposed to make two different types. So if I have grain, a sale, and I have the shear of roiva of something else, it's a problem. That's the roiva, it's bottom. So we also find here similar to what we have in our Mishnah, the concept of roiva. So kol sel sheyesh b'roiva minachi yimayit. What does it mean yimayit? Shrink it. Take out a little bit. Mashma, what do you do? Not taking out the whole thing. Just take out a little bit and make it less than roiva. So says the Gemara, the roiva, the kilayim, ki yoyisem roiva dochol. Remember the kilayim is exactly like here more than roiva. Meaning here you're allowed to have roiva by selling, roiva of spoilage, but not more. By kilayim, you're not allowed to have roiva. To have less than roiva. So one understands, but kilayim, our shear is a little smaller, more stringent. Roiva by kilayim is like more than roiva by us. It's comparable. 1 second, let's just finish cheshbon. And it says that you just shrink it. You just remove the extra. So the core question, what we just said, we said if he has too much, you don't just take out the extra, take the whole thing out. Why? See, by kilayim, it just be might. So see, you just take it out. So more like, wherever the kilayim, no. Roiv is already a problem. Right, so Roiv with kilayim is not a problem. Like here is not a problem. Only one is a problem. That's why I don't tell you take out the whole thing. I just think you might. So more, once again, if Roiv is okay, why do you might? Yachi might. Mishum chum the kilayim. Because the chum kilayim. In other words, really, up to Roiva, you're fine. Yosim Roiva is a problem. But when you were Roiva, even though you're fine, take it a little bit.
How do you measure that?
What?
How do you measure?
You take every seyo, it's a measurable thing. Seyo is a certain amount of Roiva Kav. Every seyo has to go, Ka'as Yagudu, right? Ka'as Kilev. So after seyo has Kav, has the Kav. And we're talking about the I think it goes 6 kav by a sale, if I'm not mistaken. And a Roiv has 1 or 24. So you measure it. If he has 1 or 24, that guy. Says the Gemara, Yaki imay mayim shuchu l'kilai. So you do less because of chum the kilai. Okay. Now the Rashban points out that that you could have said there's a very big difference between kilayim in our case. Because in our case, we're talking about mechilo. Is the buyer moichel the seller or not? That's the case over here. But kilayim, it's going to be surim. So what the sheikh is? Here, you're not moichel. You're moichel, not moichel. That's the discussion over here. Here is not doing mechilo. That says the Rabbi, you could have answered that, but more do you want to go into it? Could have answered it. Don't compare kilayim to our case. Now, it says the Gemara, right, and also as the Toys points out, the Torah points out, this is a question only according to Mandoma that says it's not a class. So he's saying once you're really working and do more. If it's a class, here you have a class, there you don't have a class. So the more Yachi, the more with the Tzedam base, aim a safe. Let's go to the next one. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yibor. He says no, clean the whole thing up. If you have, by kilayim, roiva, which is bad, take the whole thing out. If you want to tell me that roiva by kilayim is equal to more than roiva by selling, so tell me that's you're not supposed to take. You're not supposed to have a roiv of kilayim. I'm supposed to have roiva. He has roiva. So what should I do? Should I just take the extra layer that makes it into roiva and leave the rest? Because until roiva, you're fine. It's only when it brings it to roiva. Or you say just take out the whole thing. To recoin is the heter out to the issue. Whatever you're allowed to have, out to the issue or not. But if you tell me that roiva is okay, and the only reason I told you to take a little bit is just a chumrah, so what's the machlekes? Eliyot roiva dami my ivor, right? Take it out. Says the Gemara asked so many times the reason is it looks bad. If you go and you plant it with the roiva, once you knew there was a roiva over there already, and he's planting it, it looks like he's mekayim kilayim, like he's keeping the kilayim. He's taking something that has 2 minim in it, and he's planting it. So it looks like he's mekayim kilayim. It looks bad, even though it's not a problem. In other words, what does it mean? As the Rashba puts out, what is the risk to argue? You're already removing. You have here a pile. Part of it is a different meaning. So I start taking it out. So I take it only 1 layer, not more. If you take it only 1 layer, not more, it looks like you're purposely putting it together. So it looks like you like. Says the Gemara, Toshma. Shtayim shivkidu etzalachot. 2 people did a pikodon by 1. This, if you remember, there's a Gemara Bo Metzia. Zeh money, zeh matayim. 1 put 100, 1 put 200. Zeh imer matayim shali, zeh matayim shali. So right now, the nifkad has $300. Right? And you have a discussion. The other says, I put $200. Man says, I put $200. He has 300. What should he do? So Rabbanan old, no, he said, he gives 100 to Mendi, 100 to Binyamin, and the rest he keep. You don't know who it belongs to. Wait till you're Novi. So what do you see over here? You see that I fix whatever I can fix. So you have here an argument. Who put 200, who put 100? So what do I say? Give whatever you know you're fine. Give 100, 100, take care. So here by us, if I have too much roiv, I just take whatever is bad and leave the rest. So it's a very big difference. There, I know for sure that many owns 100 and you don't owns 100. I don't know who owns the 200, but 100 I know for sure. So it makes sense to give 100. Mashiach here, what's the problem? Maybe this guy mixed up bad, according to Madomar Knas. Maybe he mixed up the spoilage into the tvul. So they tell him, oh, you mixed up the spoilage into the tvul, you take it out. No, you just take a little sliver. No, if you mix up the whole thing, you have to take up the whole thing.
Wasn't there a sheet over there that held that no one gets anything?
Yeah, oh, very good. Very good. So Toshma Miseifa, we'll go to the next point, next sheet. Very good, Bion remembers. Oh, my Yoisi, in Ken, my Sida Rama, the sheet that says the opposite. My Sida Rama, he's a thief. One of them is going to say, what do I care? I'm going to lie. Worst case, I get what I have anyway. I'll take more. We punish them both, you don't get anything. So you see that you punish the whole thing. So for a riot by us, you should punish the whole thing. Here's the opposite story. There we know for sure one of them is lying. So one of them is lying. Don't give anybody anything. But here, I don't know if the guy did something wrong. I'm choshed that maybe he did something wrong. If you hold knas. So, okay, so you choshed him. But don't exaggerate. Says the Gemara, Toshma. Bring another raya. Do you go and you go the extra mile to take out you just fix what's wrong or you do the whole thing wrong? Shtar sheyesh b'ribis. Someone that wrote a shtar with ribis. He doesn't take not the principle, which is allowed, and not the ribis. Nothing. So you see another raya, once one of them is bad, I don't take the whole thing. There, you're doing it here right away. When you write a shtar and you write that I have here a loan that you have to pay ribis, so the whole thing is wrong. Now, yes, if you could take, you could ask for the principle for Yikardin, but writing but doing this shuma is you're doing a estimate. You have to be ribis, so then it's awesome. You're very answer. But here, who said that he stole anything? He did anything wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. Now, here, Rabbi Machlik is showing addresses it a little bit. When I'm telling you that you can't, according to Rameir, now I don't take the interest, I don't take the principle. I don't take the interest, I don't take the principle at all. Or I do take the principle, but not with the shtar. I mean, do I say that, of course, Reuben lent Shimon $100. Shimon owns $100. He won't give him ribbis, but $100 is even bad. But he can use the shtar because the shtar says in the ribbis. So it's like as if a vote without a shtar. You have a vote about pay, it doesn't have the same strength as a shtar. Or you say no. The whole loan is out. And that's a machlekes. There's a few sheetas over here. That's a machlekes. Says the Gemara, Toshma, we got another rayo. Miseifa. Let's go to the same case by ribis from the second part. You argue with Karen, you're not going to ribis. So what do you see? Only what's wrong, it's wrong. What's good is good. So going back to our case, if you have or extra ribis, just take with the wrong part, the rest to leave. So Machashto. He says like this. There, the principle is mutter. You give him a loan of $100. But here, I'm choshev, this guy mixed up more. Meaning, maybe he put too much spoilage into the tvul. Now, it's clear from these cases, the whole base, this is all according to Madomar Knas. Because the Gemara said, what's the problem? Why tell me you can't take the whole thing? Or about two explanations. Either because once I'll take care of it, I want the whole thing, or because it's a knas. So the Gemara over here says it's a knas, right? Why? Because he's saying, what's a knas? Oh, you had so much spoilage, it means you mixed it up. So maybe you mixed the whole thing. Who are you going with that shita? And so really this is the part of this is a discussion here in the Rishonim that is a din or knas. Toy speaks about it a little bit. If you look at the Tzaidan and Mudav, this will end today. If you look at the Tzaidan and Mudav in the bottom, in the Toysis in the bottom, we want to say a few lines. They'll say like 4 or 5 lines to the end of the narrow lines. He says, "Va'alishno de knosapayich." The whole question is on the knos. The ketani yimayit look katzin pochas miroy v'atu rev. You don't do knas less. Maybe you should crazy the whole thing. But if it's Alisha Din, this guy says, listen, I'm moichel you if it's just a little bit, but a lot I have to take out anyway. So it says the beginning says, by Dino, you can always be mechalik. So what do you want? Dino, what's the Dino? What's the swear of Dino? Once I have to clean it up anyway, I have to put it through the sifter, just do the whole thing. Don't give me half. But if it's knas, they say, oh, you do something wrong, all this crushes go this way. So the Torah says, the perch nam elish le'dino shofir. Could be he's asking also le'dino shofir. Kol shedech b'nadam la'asir kilayim havi lo yisira. Right? So every time the people take away, he's talking about the kilayim case. So it's kilayim havi lo yisira. If it's no, take it out. So it's kilayim if you didn't take it out. Once if the story is once you take a little bit, take the whole thing, so by kilayim should apply the same thing. Once you take a little bit, take the whole thing. When he says lishtik kasa works better, and the Rashbam also seems to say it talks about knasa. So you made it. That's what the Gemara brings. The Gemara brings rice here and there. And we're still in the middle of here. The Gemara is going to continue bringing rayos to this discussion. So Gomer will stop over here. And we should have a wonderful Shabbos.